Did you know Super Awesome Mix has an app? Go to the Apple App Store today and download Super Awesome Mix. It's free. You could start creating and sending your own digital mixtapes in just a few clicks. Also, there's links to our Instagram account and a link where you can follow your favorite podcast. Speaking of which, welcome back to another Super Awesome Mix. My name is Matt Sidholm, alongside my co-host and co-founder of Super Awesome Mix, Samer Abu Salbi. Samer, how are we doing today?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. We've talked about this mix like a whole lot, so I'm pretty happy that we're finally here doing it. Which is the songs with, I guess, like needless parentheses. Sometimes, you know, I don't know. That's kind of like the way I picked mine is you just have to wonder, like, why did you put that in parentheses? It didn't.
Yeah, they're just kind of, we've referenced this a lot when songs came up on other mixes that had parentheticals in the song title. And this is something that's always kind of stuck out for me over the years, because you'll look at a song and sometimes it'll have an extra long title, and as we'll get to, sometimes it's like, why is that part of the title? Or just
right.
Why is that in parentheses? Like, just from a grammatical structure standpoint, why do we need to put that in parentheses, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I know people are getting a little too loose with them. Let me say, in song titles.
Well, it's much like the much derided adverb literally, right? Which is thrown around constantly. But not actually used properly, right? Like, I'm literally dying right now. I can't believe this is happening. It's like, well, no, you're not actually dying. Yeah.
Literally, I love in the show Parks and Rec. That's
yes.
how I'm blanking on
Rob Lowe,
Chris
right? Prager.
Oh
yes.
my God,
this is literally the greatest moment of my life.
Ever since I watched through that show, that's how I now start to say. Anytime I'm going to say the word literally, I say it. Literally, the greatest thing ever. But with that, let's get into literally the best mix on parentheticals that you could ever find. I'm going to kick us off with your first pick, and you went with "Stay" (parentheses) I Missed You by Lisa Loeb.
Yeah.
Great pick.
This is the first song that came to mind when I thought of this mix, because this is a song that I think everybody, if you listen to the song, you just think of it as "Stay." But then when you look up the song itself, in parentheses, it's "I Missed You." Now, I will give this song credit, because this isn't true of every song in this mix. At least she says the words "I missed you" at one point in the song, right? So it's not completely extraneous, but it's not like they fit together in some way. It's really, it's almost like she couldn't decide on the song title and just went with one, and just kind of put them together and put one in parentheses. But yeah, this is a great song. It's from the Reality Bites soundtrack, so all our 90s fans out there. I looked this up. It was kind of interesting. She went to Brown University. She's Dallas's own, by the way.
Oh, cool. I didn't know
Dallas,
that.
Texas native. She goes to Brown, and she wrote the song when she was a student there. And then somehow it made its way to her friend Ethan Hawke, who was like, "Oh, I'm doing this movie soon. Let me send this to this director, Ben Stiller, who's directing this movie, Reality Bites." And off we go from there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know, it's the importance of having some good friends, right?
It is, yeah, absolutely. So if you're out there and let's say you're like a, I don't know, podcast producer at Spotify, drop us a line, you know?
If you went to college or high school with either one of us and are like, wow, I keep listening to these guys talk. I mean, yeah, maybe hand it off to somebody at Spotify. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. Before we
yes,
move on, though,
go ahead.
I do want to bring up one thing that I have issue with this title. I feel like the tenses don't work, right? Because it's like, or whatever it is. Because she says "stay," which is like an active, like you're talking to someone to stay. But then she writes "I missed you," which is, you know, obviously past tense. I don't know. I'm bothered by that because I just don't think you would ever say to someone, "Stay, I missed you." I guess you could. I guess if they had left previously and now you're trying to tell them, never mind. Like, I missed you last time you left. So
That
stay.
would have to be the timeline.
It could be that.
Yeah, that would have to be the timeline.
that would have
is
to
that
be it.
prior to this person has been gone from her life.
Right.
And so now she's asking them, she's saying, oh, I missed you. Now stay. Before, though, there had to be a
Right.
period where she's like, don't stay. You know, and maybe we should explore that
Right.
song from Lisa Loeb. If she ever wants to write that one, that could be a good follow-up.
I like it. Good prequel song. Yep.
All right. So your first pick, you went with Over My Head, parentheses, Cable Car by The Fray.
Yes, The Fray. Oh, I think I got introduced to The Fray by the show Grey's Anatomy. I can't remember 100%, but I feel like that show used...
Yes.
It had a lot of good music, especially season 1, season 2. Like, great music. And so I think they used one song of theirs. I'm blanking on the name. But anyway, so I got introduced to
Oh,
The
no.
Fray
It
around
was
college,
How to Save a
loved them.
Life. I feel like they played that all the
Yes,
time on
of
Grey's
course.
Anatomy. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Good one. Yes. That was like as if it was written for like a medical show. But yes, Over My Head by the Cable Car. I had always just assumed Cable Car was in there because he references like we're up in a cable car, and it's like this idea of like you're stuck with someone, you're kind of having a fight with them. That's one of the worst places you could have a fight with someone because like you can't go anywhere. Certainly know where you'd want to go. So you're just like trapped in this little claustrophobic bubble with someone. And I thought, okay, well, that's kind of like what this song is about. But I learned Cable Car is actually the nickname of his brother, Caleb. And that's where that comes from. And this song is like about, I guess, like a falling out with his brother and then like trying to get back together and making things work again. So that was a fun little fact. I was like, okay, I respect the parentheses now that I've learned that. But it does also seem like this is one of those where it could have been like, I can't decide what to call this. Is this Over My Head or is this Cable Car? I'm just going to put Cable Car in parentheses.
Well, and the first time I saw this song title, I think maybe even before I heard, like, I just, if you're ever on a cable car, like over your head, you might have the little handle you're hanging on to, or the cable to indicate you need to stop or something like that. So I was like, maybe it's something associated with that, but I mean, clearly it's not. But that's immediately what came to mind when I just saw the song title.
Right.
Yeah.
You thought they were perhaps like writing like a safety video for being in a cable
Yeah,
car.
I thought that's what the original was, is that some municipality really ponied up for the Fray to write an original song for their safety video.
Well, I mean, like, they were an unknown in Denver, so maybe they were like, hey, guess what? The city of Denver, they want to sign us for a cool safety video that they're doing for how to, stop when you're in a cable car.
Hey guys, you know how
And
we're
they're like,
really,
cool, yeah, well, check.
we're really bucking for that first album deal, and we also care deeply about public transit? Well, I've got a solution.
It's in this
It's
song.
in this song.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna go and rewrite like the wiki page for this and just make that a thing. We're just gonna push the cable car. Push the cable car theory. That's what this is
That's what
really
this is
about.
really
All right,
about.
the Fray.
Yes.
You don't have a brother named Caleb. That you call cable car. Sure. Okay. Let's move on. Track 3. This guy hasn't made an appearance in some time, so I can't tease you about it, but it's a Bruce Springsteen track, and it's 4th of July, Asbury Park, parentheses, Sandy.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a little bit since we've had a Bruce Springsteen track on here.
It has.
So I thought, and this is also a song that would be maybe hard to fit on another mix. And so I thought from a parenthetical standpoint, this is perfect. Now, the part inside the parentheses is actually the part that this song is probably better known as. So most people probably only know this song as Sandy because he references Sandy throughout the song. 4th of July, Asbury Park is really what he's just describing within the song. So he never actually says those words in the song. But this is kind of classic Bruce because he's just painting a picture. Like if you've never, I've never been to the Jersey Shore on the 4th of July, but I feel like as many times as I've listened to this song, if I ever go, I'm going to be pointing out things as if they were part of my childhood.
Nice.
Be like, yeah, right there. Oh no, you know what this is, and I'm going to be talking about it or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just love how he. But credit to him from a songwriting standpoint that he can do that and really paint that picture. In fact, he mentions near the end of the song, the cops finally busted Madame Marie for telling fortunes better than they do. And Madame Marie was a real psychic there on the Jersey Shore. And her name was Marie Costello. And when she passed away in 2008, it actually made the news just based on the fact that she got the mention in this song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
I like
yeah.
that.
So anyway, I think it's a fantastic song, and also, great little parenthetical too.
It is. It's a lovely song. I agree. He paints a really nice picture. I have been to this beach in particular, not on the 4th of July. It's actually quite lovely. Like, I think the show The Jersey Shore gave everyone like a horrible idea of like what the Jersey shoreline is. And those beaches do exist. There are certainly beaches where you walk around and you're like, am I going to get stuck by a needle? Like, probably. So wear your shoes. But no, this one is really nice. It was a very lovely day, and the boardwalk is really cool. And yeah, it's just kind of like you feel like you're being transported to like another time. Like back when this was like a really big deal to go to like the boardwalk and go to a developed beach and stuff. So it was cool. Yeah, I like it. Very lovely song. I enjoyed listening to this one.
Nice. All right, your next pick. And this is impressive because the entire title is in parentheses, okay? So, parentheses, The Forgotten People by Thievery Corporation.
Yeah, I was actually, I kind of surprised myself by finding this one because I didn't think of this one whenever I was putting this mix, but I was just kind of scrolling through my music trying to find songs that, had parentheticals in them. And then this one appeared, and I was like, aha, perfect. Although I was told after I'd put this mix together, there's a Sigur Rós album that is entirely called just literally an empty parentheses. And that's the name of the album. So I feel like that was a miss on both of our parts. So sorry to anyone who's like, you should have put that on the mix. Anyway, Thievery Corporation, love them. I think I discovered them from the Garden State soundtrack, either directly, I can't remember if they were on it, or because 07 was on it, and then I started to hunt around of like bands that like you would probably like if you like 07, and stumbled upon Thievery Corp. Either way, I saw them live at ACL way back in the day, like 2004-ish or 5, and they just put on a great show. It's like just a mashup of all different kind of sounds. There's like an Arabic vibe to it. There's like a lounge vibe to it. There's an EDM vibe to it. I mean, it's really cool, just music, right? Like there's no lyrics in this song. It's just like a mood that you put on, and you just kind of feel chill and loungy and like, I don't know, cool, right? Like it's really interesting. I love their sound, and this is one of my favorite songs of theirs, so I had to throw this one on. I don't know why it's all in parentheses, other than maybe alluding that like since they're forgotten people, they don't get to be outside of the parentheses. They're just like an addendum.
Oh,
that was the only thing I could come up with.
That's a pretty good theory.
So, yeah.
That's a pretty good theory. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I definitely think this song, I just love the sound of it, really. I kept waiting. I didn't expect it to be an instrumental. I don't know anything about Thievery Corporation, obviously, when I started listening to the song. But yeah, you're right. It had a Middle Eastern sound to it. And I don't know, I really liked it. But again, I was wondering, like, okay, when are the lyrics going to kick in? Okay, when I thought we were getting like the
Right.
2-minute long intro, like something out of the 70s before the lyrics start. But
Sure.
but no, it's a great pick, and obviously great job finding a song entirely in parentheses. Although we, big miss on our part with the whole album in parentheses. So yeah.
Right. Ugh, I know. We'll have to print an apology, an editor's apology or whatever. All right, let's go to track 5. You've got a Kenny Loggins track. I think this is his first time appearing on our mix. I can't remember, but it is I'm Free, parentheses, Heaven Helps the Man.
Yeah, so anyone familiar with the great movie Footloose, okay, might recognize this song. It's from the soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, so that soundtrack's known for Let's Hear It for the Boy, Almost Paradise, and of course the title track, Footloose, right? But this song plays during the credits, and it's a second Kenny Loggins song from the soundtrack. And I love it. I mean, it's such a good song, I think, and good. Look, of an era, right? So I'm not sitting here going, wow, just this timeless sound from Kenny Loggins, right? It definitely sounds like it was written in 1984.
Oh my God!
But I think it's a great song. It actually it's another side of the Footloose story, right? Like it's kind of like Footloose is all about dancing. Like that's a really fun song, but I think it's kind of cool that he wrote this other song that's kind of talks about maybe the struggle that goes on in that movie. And I think it's a great movie too, so everybody should check it out. But yeah, this is maybe a deeper track from that soundtrack.
So my notes here are like, wow, this song is so 80s from the first 5 seconds. It is literally the most 1980s song I can imagine.
And that's a better use of literally right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I also noted here, I feel like it could have been like on a Top Gun soundtrack, because I think that might be the most 80s film in existence, right? Like Top Gun was pretty peak 80s. But anyway,
maybe so. And there's about to be a sequel, so we'll see how 80s it is and if it carries over.
Right. If it carries over, yeah. Who knows? I loved the shouting of "I'm free," and I just felt like that part gets you like, all fired up, trademark Matt, because it does, like, it just gives you that energy boost whenever he started yelling "I'm free." But what I found interesting, in at least the lyrics that I saw written out, the "I'm free" was in parentheses, and "Heaven Helps the Man" was not. So it was like the reverse of what the title is, and so I was very curious by that.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like that could have worked the other way, right?
Because the background singers were singing the "I'm Free" and Kenny Loggins is singing the "Heaven Helps Me." Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, but there were also, I noticed, I don't know if you found this, but there were a lot of 80s songs with parentheses in them. So I don't know why that was such a big thing in the 1980s.
Maybe it helped SEO back in the day. Record store right. SEO. I don't know.
Record store SEO. Yeah, that was a thing.
Because like you had to remember, it was all what you needed to remember, right? So you're like, oh, do you have that like Sandy song, like from Bruce? And you're like, oh yeah, at the 4th of July, Asbury Park, I do.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was a way to like balance artistic license, right? So it's like, no, I want to call this 4th of July Asbury Park, and it's like, no one's gonna remember that, Bruce. Call it Sandy.
You got to put Sandy in the name.
Come on. You say Sandy 17 times. All right. So let's get out of the 80s. All right. Let's bring it up a little bit more modern. Your next pick, you went with Montero, parentheses, Call Me By Your Name by, of course, Lil Nas X.
Yes. And I actually didn't know this, but his name is Montero. His real name, his first name is Montero. So that makes a lot more sense now, and I can't believe I didn't know that. I felt kind of silly like learning that, but it's like, oh, got it. And then I love this song, number one. Obviously, it was a huge pop hit for him. Continues to make the rounds on radio play and on the internet, and everyone loves it. And he does a lot of great performances to the song. So love the song as a song itself. And then the lyrics really are kind of interesting. He talks a lot about how this is almost like a coming out song for him. And he was tweeting or doing some interviews later about how it was almost as if, my understanding is like he wrote the song to his 14-year-old self. And so this, Call Me By Your Name is almost like, hey, like be who you are, because obviously there's still sadly a lot of homophobia. There's a lot of fear of coming out about, identifying as a gay person and all of that. And so being able to, say your name and be proud of your name and be proud of who you are, I think is what the song is really about. And I never would have known any of that because all I really paid attention was like, this is a great poppy one, song that gets played all the time. So it was really fun to dive into it and just add that layer of meaning to it. I thought that was really powerful. And I think that lends itself to like why people really love him, because I do think he puts a lot of depth to his lyrics and a lot of depth to his music. So yes, he's a major pop star, but like I think he writes a lot of really cool things and a lot of beautiful lyrics and draws on a lot of his personal experiences. So it's great.
Well, I also think like the thing I wrote down is, like sonically, he has so much range in what he does, right? So he is kind of this pop star, but there's not really a sameness to a lot of his songs. They sound pretty different, pretty diverse. And so I give him a lot of credit for not just, we talk a lot, we've brought up Weezer multiple times on this podcast, and we talk about how it's like, well, it sounds like a Weezer song. It's like, there's really not that. I mean, you think about he hit it big with Old Town Road, and then his other songs he's had other pop hits, but they don't sound anything like Old Town Road, right? Like they sound very different from that, and from each other as well. So I give him a lot of credit for that. But yeah, this is a great pick.
Nice. All right, track 7. We've got Mama Told Me, parentheses, Not to Come, by Three Dog Night.
So that's probably an unnecessary parenthetical because it's like that's a complete phrase, and they say it multiple times in the song.
Right.
Mama told me not to come. So parentheses are kind of an odd choice there. This song written by Randy Newman, who prolific songwriter in modern times. Most people probably know him as the writer of a number of songs from movies, especially like most famously probably Toy Story. You've Got a Friend in Me. That's Randy Newman. And I Love L.A., who I think we featured on a previous mix. But Three Dog Night I think is a really fun band. If you ever want to go back and listen to some of their songs, I think they have a lot of great songs, and so the band really matches up well with kind of the fun that comes out in Randy Newman's songwriting, because this is just about kind of a crazy party that this person goes to.
Yes, yeah.
And throughout it, it's like, man, Mama told me not to come, and then he's just describing what's going on. So it's really kind of a funny song, but that's kind of what Three Dog Night does, and so perfect pairing here with Randy Newman.
Yeah, I love all of that. I was really, I loved reading the lyrics. I was familiar with the song, but again, diving into the lyrics is always a different experience. I also really appreciated how mindful they were of being able to play this on the radio. So they censored a lot of their own lyrics, with different words. For example, want some whiskey in your water, sugar in your tea. I guess sugar in your tea was code for LSD, to microdose or dose. All these different things.
I think they were just dosing back then. I don't think there was a micro dose.
Right. There was no micro then. Right. So yeah, it was. I thought that was really clever, and I just love the whole idea of this. It's like the anti-party song, right? It's like this. Oh my God, I've gone to this party, and Mom told me not to come here, and now I'm freaking out. And he writes, "Don't turn on the lights because I don't want to see." And I just think that's like the introvert's anthem, I don't want to be at this party. Please let me go home.
Yeah, I think if I rewrote this song, it would be, I told myself not to come. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
All right. Now, your next pick, we've got I'm Not Okay, parentheses, I Promise, by My Chemical Romance.
Yes, I'm Not Okay, I Promise. So I love this song. This is definitely a song that I would run to a lot because it just has such a high energy. It's a very high octane rock song and a lot of screaming. But I just have always enjoyed the part where I guess it's a conversation he's having with someone who is also not okay. And so he is stop coming to me with your problems because I'm not okay. This is not a good pairing. We're both not okay. And then, but my favorite line has always been wherever he's like, I'm okay. And then immediately followed by trust me, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
So I just have always enjoyed that. Because I feel that way a lot, right? I think we can all feel that way, especially in the last 2 years of this continuing pandemic that, oh my God, when will it stop? So we're like, I'm okay, I'm not okay, I'm not okay, but I'm okay. We're just trying to figure it out. We're always on that line of feeling like this is fine, and oh my gosh, this is the worst.
Right, or just telling someone,
song,
telling someone that you are okay, right? When you're not.
Exactly. Yeah, that became such a loaded question in these last 2 years, right? That very kind of, inane question of oh, how are you? And you're just like, oh, I'm good, Now it's well, how much time do you have? Let me tell you all the ways that I'm not okay.
Right. I thought this was a great song, and I also looked up the music video because I read so many things about that being notable, and they did a really fun music video for this. It was like a trailer for a high school movie, and it was actually it's worth checking out, and it's had millions and millions of views because I guess it became pretty popular when the song came out. But that's also really fun. So to think about the energy of this song and then add it to that kind of a fun trailer, I thought they did a good job with that.
Nice. All right. Well, let's move on to your next pick. We've got Doo-Wop, parentheses, That Thing, by Lauryn Hill, making her third appearance in a short amount of time on our mixes.
We're going to keep banging the drum here on Lauryn Hill. Just one album, right?
Yep.
This was this was the song actually that went to number one off that album, interestingly enough. So this was kind of her biggest hit. Doo-wop is kind of the style they sing in at different points in this song. So they don't actually say doo-wop in the song. She does reference That Thing quite a bit. But it's a really good song. Obviously, really good lyrics talking about both men and women and some of the problems they both run into. I give it a lot of credit because she kind of takes a look at it from both sides, which is kind of fun. And on the album version, at the end, you kind of get this weird. We talked about those weird interstitials at the end of rap songs when you listen to the full album. Same thing here on the full version. You get this weird like discussion about love and when you could fall in love and all that type of stuff. So yeah, good track though.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's a really good one. I did write that this is the one that like I most think of, as I'm sure is true for everyone with Lauryn Hill and her music. Huge hit, great song, one of my favorites of hers. And I agree. I really appreciated that she wrote like these kind of warnings to both genders here, right? Like speaking, and she literally calls it out. It's like, okay, now it's the guy's turn. And I just think that's really cleverly done. So, but yeah, I guess that thing is what she's warning about. Like, don't be exploited for parentheses, that thing. And I guess that's why that's in parentheses, but I don't know. Sure. I think this is more SEO work.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're trying to alphabetize singles, maybe at the record store, maybe D would go better. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So here's a great unnecessary parenthetical on your next track. We've got parentheses. I've had close parentheses the time of my life by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes.
I know, it's so funny. I think the next three closing out this mix are some of the most egregious uses of parentheticals. So I'm really glad that they kind of lined up in our picks this way. But this one, truly, it's like, why is that in parentheses? Like, I've had the time of my life. Like, that's okay. That's like a whole sentence. Like,
and they say that multiple times in the song. I've had the time of my life.
Right, it's no secret. Right. Like you are literally talking to someone saying, I've had the time of my life. So just own that. You don't need to put any part of the song in parentheses, but it's fine. Great song, though, off of the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. I mean, just one of the most iconic songs, I think, of all time. Everyone's going to recognize this. I feel like it's probably a karaoke like hit, certainly the most. I will admit, this is one of those songs, and I'm sure we have like mixes like this, where I really only want to listen to the first like 30 or 60 seconds of it. And then just like, it's like you're taking a hit of the song and you're like, yeah, so good. But then you're like, okay, I don't really need to listen to the rest of it.
It goes on a little bit. Yeah, it goes on for a little bit longer than maybe it should. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Right.
Yeah, and
right.
without... and outside of the movie context, when you don't have the dancers in front of you in that final scene, it's kind of like, all right, let's wrap it up. Jennifer Warnes also part of another big 80s soundtrack hit. Do you know the answer to this trivia question, Sammer?
I don't.
Yeah,
no.
She teamed up with Joe Cocker to sing Up Where We Belong from the soundtrack to An Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh, I've never seen that. So I didn't know
that's actually...
I'm familiar with the movie, but I've not seen it.
We've bagged on some 80s movies before where I'm like, yeah, don't go watch it. But it's but this is that's actually a legitimately good movie. I think you should, that's worth your time to watch that one. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But anyway.
Add it to the list.
But yes, great song, great movie. I mean, it's iconic, and I've done that one in karaoke, so it's definitely a good karaoke song.
Yeah, same. It is a good one. It's a crowd pleasing one for sure. But it's probably one that everyone's going to want to skip after you're done with like that first part. All right, track 11, your last pick. Another one. Oh, so happy, but again, just like why the parentheses? Don't you parentheses forget about me by Simple Minds.
Yeah, Don't You by itself like makes no sense as a song title.
Right.
So it's like,
don't
it
you?
really needs.
You would never just say that to
Forget
someone.
about me. Yeah, like it's maybe if you're trying to sound cool, like don't you, like, right? But I mean, I don't get it, right? But yeah, so don't you, and then the parentheses, forget about me. Anyway, of course, from The Breakfast Club, again, another iconic 80s movie. And, the scene at the end where Bender's walking away, fist in the air, and you get this song playing. So, incredible song. I've never heard it sung in karaoke. I think it might be harder than maybe it seems.
I agree, yeah. I don't know if this one would be as good at karaoke as some of the other ones on this mix. But It is like, I mean, who isn't playing that scene in their head whenever you hear the song? Like, if you've ever seen Breakfast Club, you know the scene, and like anytime you hear the song, you're just gonna think about the guy, fist in the air, like jumping. That's also that actually might be literally the best '80s film of all time.
You're
so
really
good.
embracing literally today, aren't you?
I am. Well, once you introduced it at the top of this mix, I was like, I'm gonna bring that in because it's a great phrase. It is not used enough.
It's really not. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great song, and I guess Billy Idol had the chance actually to first do this one, and he turned it down, but then later did a cover, and I just wonder if he was like, oh man, I should have taken that song.
Wow, that's kind of wild to think about.
Yeah.
Billy Idol,
Right.
what would that have sounded like?
Yeah, I wonder.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's finish this off strong. And to a lot of people listening to this might have been the first song that came to mind. So I'm glad I made the mix. But you've got Sweet Dreams, Parentheses, Are Made of This by the Eurythmics.
Yeah, funny enough, I was tempted, we'd mentioned Weezer. I was tempted to put the Weezer cover of this, because again, it's just like, it sounds like a Weezer song. They're really amazing at being able to do that. They turned like this other song and it's like, oh, right, Weezer. But then, again, like to the discredit, they don't do anything different with it. Like, it's literally just like you apply like a Weezer filter to a song. Like if songs had filters in the same way that photos do, that's what that would be.
It's a great way to describe it.
So yes, amazing song. I love this song. It's also such an earworm. I mean, I was singing it all day after I put this on the mix, and for multiple days actually, it just keep popping back up. And then recently, I think the New Yorker had a cartoon of like all these misheard lyrics, and of course one of the most famous one is "Sweet dreams are made of cheese." It's like people apparently hear that all the time, and in Instagram I noted it's like, well, to some people sweet dreams might be made of cheese. Like my dog would certainly agree.
That's a great point.
He absolutely, I'm sure he dreams of eating cheese. No doubt he does.
I love cheese. I'm not even a dog. Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I would appreciate that dream. Yeah, some misheard lyrics I can get with, like, oh, I can kind of see that. That one, I was like, I don't know if I understand. I've never heard it that way. Sweet dreams are made of cheese. That's really odd. But yeah,
Yes.
great choice. Also made me think about that. Like it may be that we could put together a great mix of synthesizer songs, right? Because this has got just the heavy like 80s synthesizer. Of course, that could just be an 80s mix as well, given that's where it was used most heavily.
Right. That Venn diagram would just be a single circle, I think. It wouldn't be anything else.
Still might be good. We'll toy with it.
Yeah. Let us know. Send us a message if you think we should put that mix together. We're always up for suggestions.
All right. Well, there you have it. Another super awesome mix. Parentheses for your collection. Close parentheses.
Nice.
Okay. Follow us on Instagram at Super Awesome Mix, as well as all the other social media platforms. Hey, we've got plenty more mixes to put together, so we'll get to work on that. And so for Sammer, this is Matt, and we'll see you next time. Super Awesome Mix is brought to you by DLM. Make shopping easy with DLM, the one-stop shop for all your casual clothing needs. Shop DLMsupplyco.com and enter the promo code AWESOME at checkout to save 15% off your first purchase. That's DLMsupplyco.com.